suppose you are planning to travel to Indonesia, but you don't know how much money to take with you, how much to budget, because you don't know the prices, you don't know how much is accommodation, how much is the food, you know. So this is the video for you today. I'm talking about the cost of living in Indonesia. I thought this is going to be useful for you, a practical video. That's why I was thinking to throw it in today. So I also would like you to refer to my other videos which I have shot over the past few years about my living cost of living in Vietnam and Thailand. Yeah, you can find them on my channel, but I also will link them up. I would like to inform you that this video here is just a general video about cost of living and some recommendations. It is not a detailed video about my monthly budget. I have done this video also in the past about cost of living in Vietnam, or Thailand, for example, where I go over in detail about my monthly budget. So there you can find how much US dollars I spent on my apartment, how much exactly I spent on food, how much exactly I spent on haircut, on internet, and all that kind of stuff, you know. But this video is not about that. If you wish me to do a video about a very detailed budget, then of course I can do this for you, no problem. But long story short, yeah, Indonesia is an affordable place to live. It's a great place to live, and that's all I can say at the moment, but I will go into more detail in this video. Yeah. And especially is Indonesia a great place to live when you earn US dollar or any kind of hard currency, right? So the first thing I want to mention about the cost of living and cost in general in Indonesia, I still strongly suggest that you establish a budget, that you follow a budget. That's what I'm doing. I'm traveling around and I have a budget. I follow my budget. I established that already a while ago, and this is my recommendation to you. Since I'm also a minimalist, which some of you know, I've done videos about it also in the past. So this of course helps me in controlling my costs, right? Even though Indonesia is way cheaper than many Western countries. Yes, it is absolutely possible, just to give you a number, to live below 1,000 US dollars per month in Indonesia, including all your costs, including food, groceries, accommodation and transportation and stuff like that. Yeah, it is absolutely possible if you are a single guy and you have a budget and you follow it, okay? So 1,000 bucks is possible, especially in the province of Indonesia. There are many, right? In big cities like Jakarta, it looks a little bit different, of course. If you need luxury, if you need this and that, if you go shopping every day in the expensive malls and have fancy dinners, then you of course spend more money. But that's not a big deal, right? That's not an art to do that. Everybody can waste and spend money. The real art is how to budget, how to follow your budget, and how to minimize your cost, right? So therefore, again, I strongly suggest and advise that even though Indonesia is way cheaper in general compared to many Western countries, you should only go there if you have certain financial management skills. And this includes, again, I repeat myself, having a budget in place. This is just a very helpful tool to manage and organize yourself and your finances, right? If you have, for example, debt or anything, don't even think about moving to Indonesia. Yeah, so because your rationale might be that you just save more money in Indonesia. Yes, you can do it, but have your finances in order. If possible, have no debt at all or any other liabilities. If you make the move into a foreign country, especially if you are retiring or want to stay long term. You know, the low living costs in Indonesia will not fix your financial problems. They will not fix your bad financial mindset, right? That's what I want to say in the beginning. So let's go straight into the cost. The first cost for you, which will occur as a tourist, when you enter as a tourist, and I will talk retirement a little bit later over the course in this video. Yeah, unfortunately now the Indonesian government has established the tourist visa fee again, visa on arrival fee. It's about $30 depending on the exchange rate. So you have to purchase this visa on your arrival, either at the border, at the immigration, or you can also do this online. If you wish me to do an extra video on that, how to apply for this online visa on arrival, I also can do that, just let me know. It costs 500,000 Indonesian rupiah, which is roughly $30. You have to pay this, and you can extend it for one time. So this visa on arrival is valid for 30 days, and you can extend it one time only. So that comes up to 60 days. After the 60 days, you have to leave the country. The visa extension also costs you another $30. So there you can see, if you're planning to stay 2 months in Indonesia, you spend already roughly $60. Yeah, so this is debatable. I also don't like it. Other countries in Southeast Asia don't have that problem, yeah, where you can actually enter completely cost-free, right? So, what about rent? Yeah, rent is cheap when you compare it to, of course, Western countries. What I normally do, I go on Airbnb, you know, the famous platform where you can find very affordable accommodation, and in entire Indonesia you can easily get a single studio or a single room already fully furnished for, let's say, $250. Yeah, so the price ranges between $250 and let's say $500, you know. But for $500 you get already something really good, you know. So this is the amount of money you have to budget with, okay? If you stay, let's say, 1 month in one place, then it makes sense to rent an apartment. If you, of course, hop around, travel around, and then it gets a little bit more expensive, right? Because you're only renting daily. Airbnb is still a good choice, but also I recommend these platforms like Booking.com, TripAdvisor, Agoda, you name them. Yeah, you can find really great deals, and since I am a long-term member and user on Booking.com, I of course receive many upgrades and discounts, so you want to keep that also in mind. So it's similar like collecting miles with certain airlines. Food is very affordable in Indonesia, and this is also one reason you should actually visit. Food is great. Also, Indonesians are all about food. They love food like any other Southeast Asian nations. They love to eat, they love to taste, they love to cook. You can find food everywhere on the roads, on the streets, street food markets, you name it. When I go for lunch in Indonesia, I usually always go to have local food at places who are called warung. A warung is a food store, a food place, a street food place where you can get food for $2, $2.50 or even $3. You get a whole meal, rice, chicken, fish, vegetables, whatever you like, depending on the portion size, of course, but you spend between $2 and $3 per meal, and that's a meal which is really filling up your stomach. You can find street food for breakfast, lunch and dinner. There are various kind of snacks available. I cannot go into all this stuff here, but if you avoid fancy restaurants, then you can save a lot of money and you still don't go hungry, and you are able to dig into all these various Indonesian cuisines and food and the entire variety, which is great. Yeah, so food is no issue at all. You have plenty of choice to watch your budget. Groceries, yes. Of course, also in Indonesia you have large supermarket chains, grocery stores. One of the biggest one is a hypermarket or hypermart, which is a very huge chain. There you can find all kinds of items like in your home country for very affordable prices. They are located, these hypermarts are located in every big Indonesian city, in every Indonesian city actually. There are several of them. But also you have places like Indomart and Alfamart, which are similar to 7-Eleven, you know, little grocery stores where you really can find anything and everything which you need for your, let's say, daily survival. And the prices are also very affordable. Water, for example, is very affordable. I usually, when I'm in Indonesia, I buy like 15-liter water tanks. You can buy them, for example, at Alfamart, and they cost you like just over $1, like $1.20 for 15 liters of water. So you can do the math already and calculate down what a liter of drinking water does cost you in Indonesia, right? Transportation, okay. Also in Indonesia, like in any other Southeast Asian country, you have riding services, you know, like Grab and Gojek. These are the two car rental companies. Not a car rental companies in the sense of that you can rent a car, but guys of you who have traveled to Southeast Asia know what I'm talking about. It's yeah, an app. Grab is an app and Gojek is an app where you can hire drivers and motorbike riders and many more things, you know. And you can easily go around with these vehicles. For example, normally in Indonesia, I'm only using a motorbike. I'm renting a driver, you know, and for like a 10 or 15-minute ride, it costs me not even $1 to get around. So prices are very cheap. But of course, if you want to rent a motorbike for a day or a week or a month, you also can do it. You can do that, but I don't have the prices in my mind right now since I have not done this yet. I have not rented a motorbike, but I think in the long term this is the most affordable and cost-effective way to get around. Taxis are available, of course, also in Indonesia. Renting a car, I have never done this. I also don't know about the requirements. It's probably a little bit difficult because you might have to produce an international driver's license or something like that. I've never tried it, you know, because transportation in Indonesia is so easy. It's so easy to get around. And besides of that, I personally walk a lot. You know, this is my hobby basically. I try to explore my neighborhoods always by walking, so I easily can walk 2, 3 or even 4 kilometers a day, so no big deal. Of course, Indonesia also has train services, especially on Java, the central island, which is actually the most developed one in Indonesia, the most developed island in terms of infrastructure and logistics. We have train services there, great train services. I mentioned them in the past. Cities like Jakarta, Bandung, Yogyakarta, Semarang and Surabaya are all connected via the KIA train service. Great service, by the way, excellent. Clean trains, punctual trains. I have to tell you, these trains are more punctual than bloody German train services, I can tell you. Yeah. Honestly, I've never expected that, but the past 2 months I was traveling through Java with a train, very cheap prices, like for example, I don't know, from Bandung to Yogyakarta, which is a 7-hour train ride, and covers about 360 or almost 400 kilometers, about $20 if I'm not mistaken. And I'm riding and I'm sitting in the business class, you know, air conditioned, clean. They have staff always taking care of the inside, cleaning up, you know, offering food and beverages. Security is also there. So overall a great experience, and you see the countryside, the landscape. So if you are in Java, I highly recommend skip the planes, use the train, okay? They are really punctual. The train stations in Java are great also. They are modern, they are organized, they are clean. Yeah, it's amazing. I was really surprised, you know, because most of Southeast Asian countries, they don't have train systems. I think Vietnam has. I was once using the train in Vietnam for 2 hours, going from Da Nang to Hue. But you know, that was what you can expect from a Southeast Asian train experience. It was okay, but I didn't want to. I don't actually want to go from long distances in Vietnam. You know, like from Hanoi to Saigon. I don't do that. I'm sorry. Not with these kind of trains. You know, but the trains in Indonesia are really excellent. Of course, they are not high-class, modern-style Japanese bullet train types of trains, you know, but trust me, you get from A to B in a very punctual way, and very cost-effective and great service and air-conditioned, you know, and clean. Airplane is cheap in Indonesia to get around. The airline I recommend is called Lion Air. Yeah, it's a budget airline. And you can fly within Indonesia with Lion Air, basically from every city, depending on the location and depending on your departure and arrival airport, between, let's say, $30 and $80. This is roughly the range. Of course, if you fly from Papua all the way to Sumatra, which is probably a 5 or 6 hour flight, you pay a little bit more money. But from Surabaya to Bali, you pay $30. From Jakarta to Surabaya, you pay maybe $60. So the prices are really competitive, budget friendly. Because Indonesia is a big country, it has over 17,000 islands, and a lot of domestic traveling is happening by airplanes. So you can very cheaply even travel with airplanes, and yeah, no issues with these budget airlines. There are several more. Yeah, you can try this out, definitely. Internet is relatively cheap. I remember I paid for a 1 month package, 30 days, with 40 gigabyte and some calling minutes, about $7. Yeah, this is excellent, you know. There are several mobile phone companies, of course, available. The biggest and most popular one, which covers actually entire Indonesia and all the areas very strongly, is called Telkomsel. Yeah. Let's talk about cutting hair cutting services. Yeah. The last time I paid for a haircut in Indonesia, I paid exactly $1, $1, 25,000 Indonesian rupiah. Yeah, so this is the cost of haircutting for men. You know, look at my haircut; it's a simple one. If you are a woman, my girlfriend told me she normally pays like $10, you know, to make her hair and stuff like that. But as a guy, you know, no worries. And the hair salons, yeah, they are not the most modern ones, but what do you need? They have hair cutting machines. You know, you have a chair, a comfortable chair. You have a fan and air condition sometimes. Easy, no problem. You know. Laundry is also relatively cheap. I do my laundry not by myself. I go to a laundry shop. You know, there are tons of laundry shops around in the neighborhood, and they charge you by kg. So 1 kg is maybe $1.50, you know, something like that. There are certain shops who are a little bit cheaper, certain shops a little bit more expensive. If you want perfume, in your clothes after washing, then they charge you a little bit more, but it's all affordable, and the prices are similar to other Southeast Asian countries. Yeah. So one thing I also want to mention, which I find very important, is when you are inside of Indonesia, especially for you guys who are planning to stay long term or even retire, and I not only recommend this for Indonesia, but especially for all countries in Southeast Asia. When you are inside of the country, get into the mindset of thinking and spending your money in terms of the local purchasing power. So I give you one example. The biggest mistakes tourists make, European tourists, Western tourists, you know, who come to Southeast Asia for the first time, and I also made this mistake before. You carry hard currency with you, you exchange it, let's say into Indonesian rupiah, and then when you buy something, you always convert the local currency into your US dollar or euro or British pounds currency, right? You calculate that in your head because you want to know how much is that item, right? And that's normal because you need to figure out where you stand, right? You need to get a feeling and a handle on things and your handle on your spending. But later on, what I've observed a lot and what tourists do is the mistake of actually wasting too much money inside these countries, and also Indonesia. Even this video is about saving money and that Indonesia is actually more cost effective. At the end, tourists are ending up wasting more money. How is that? Because, you know, they go into a restaurant and they see, oh, here, pizza available for $8, you know, converted from the local currency into US dollar. Oh, the pizza only cost $8. Wow, that's cheap. That's 50% cheaper than in the US. Oh, let's have a pizza. You know, and the next day they go to another restaurant and see, oh, look here, this beefsteak only costs $10, but in my country it is 25. Oh, let's dig in, let's have that. So, and it's accumulating and accumulating. It's not really smart actually, because $10 for a steak in Indonesia is of course way cheaper than a steak in the US or in Europe. But when you convert the $10 into local currency, then that means that $10 are 150,000 Indonesian rupiah. That is 150,000 Indonesian rupiah. And do you know how much can you buy with 150,000 rupiah? You don't know. And you should know. You should figure out how much money this is for a local Indonesian. You know, for less than $1, you can get already a meal sometimes. You know, yeah. This is what I want to tell you. I don't know if you get this, but this is money management. This is, in my opinion, money mindset. This is the proper mindset to think. To start to think in terms of local purchasing power. What can the local currency get you? You know, like for example, you walking down the road, or I walk down the road, and suddenly I see a 20,000 Indonesian rupiah bill lying on the road. Okay. And or maybe a 10,000 Indonesia rupiah note. Maybe it's lying there on the road, and then I would pick it up, or maybe I don't pick it up because I think, this is just 80 US cents. There's no money. No, 10,000 Indonesian rupiah can get you already something in Indonesia. And it's the same in Thailand. It's the same in Vietnam. It's the same in the Philippines. So this is what I do. You know, I only look at the purchasing power of the Indonesian rupiah inside the country. Yes, sometimes I still convert back and forth, but I strictly follow that rule because I follow what basically the Indonesians are spending, you know, and the Indonesians, they go to their local food store, they pay 20,000, 30,000 rupiah for a whole meal, yeah, which is $1.50, $2, you know. But this is what you can get for $2 in Indonesia, a whole meal. So tell me, what can you get for bloody $2 in America or in Canada or in Europe? You ain't get nothing much, right? So this is my advice to you, start to think in terms of the purchasing power of the local currency, and get away from this constantly converting into dollar and euro and then comparing the prices here with the prices in your home country. At the end you will always lose. This is not smart to do, in my opinion, yeah? Because you want to be financially savvy, right? Again, so to conclude this video, yes, Indonesia is a great place for traveling. It's cost effective if you know what to do. I hope this video could help you here to shed some light on these things and the challenges and the issues. If you're smart, if you follow a budget, if you're financially savvy, if you don't come into this country with large baggage, you know, especially when you want to stay long term, then you will have a great time here. Then you also will manage your money, and you will close your month-end bottom line with very, very favorable results. You know, this is what we want to do. Talking about retirement, I have not much information about this topic at the moment. I have to do more research, but I lived in Indonesia, I worked in Indonesia for many years. So also in the long term, I think it's a great alternative to retire. I will probably do a video in the next few weeks about retirement in Indonesia, give you some updates. But long story short, Indonesia is a great place to retire, great country, great nature, great people, great food, great cost. You know, if you have a hard currency income. Otherwise, you have to think a little bit and plan more properly. But overall and bottom line, Indonesia is also a great place for retirement. Yes, and with that being said, I'm checking out for today. Hope this video was useful. Let me know in the comment sections. Ask me anything. I try to answer all your questions, and if I forgot something, also let me know. See you in my next video. Take care. Bye bye.